Together we stand in the side we embrace, the highs and lows, we find our place. With humble hearts, we never get the way. In love and life every single day.
Family bonds, they ring in their hand. We build our dreams on shifting sand. Relationships bloom like flowers of spring in the pockets of life. Our voices sing.
No stories to tell and lessons to share. Every moment we show we care. It's a journey.
All right. We are live right now as we speak. I'm Vincent.
And I am Shakri Jones.
We are your hosts of the Humble Hearts podcast. And listen, we have a treat for you today. Listen, we got a wonderful event coming up in April, and I'm very excited about it. And I know my wife is too, aren't you, honey?
Yes, I'm very excited. Can't wait to see what's coming. We just had a great women's empowerment event. The women showed up and showed out, so I am excited to see what's next.
Hey, listen, I'm getting ready to let our guests introduce themselves, and we are going to get started because you do not want to wait any longer. And let's go ahead and get this thing started. So, who wants to introduce themselves first out of our wonderful group that we have? All right. So it looks like Gemma, you want to go first?
Sure. I was going to say Dr. G, but that's right. We'll let her close us out. So
Okay.
I am Gemma Lowry. I am part of the marketing team with eUnity Delaware, working on our Celebrate Delaware Together Day, also part of the board, and so happy to be with you guys today to share this amazing inaugural event.
Awesome. So Kevin, would you like to introduce yourself? Can you hear us, Kevin? Dr. G, you want to go real quick, and we'll go back to Kevin because I'm not sure if he can hear us or not.
Sure. Hello, everyone. I am Dr. Eunice Guamisia. I am the president and CEO of eUnity Delaware, and thank you for having us on here today. I'm super excited and looking forward to this conversation.
Awesome. So, Kevin, are you able to hear me? Can you hear me? Are you able to unmute? Can you hear us, Kevin?
We'll figure out what's going on with Kevin, but Kevin Coleman is on here with us, guys, and he's leading the marketing team. So we'll figure out what's going on with his mic, but I know time is precious, so we'll kick it back to you, Vince.
All right, understood. So
I'm hearing you, Gemma. Can you hear me when I speak?
Oh, there you go. We got
okay.
it.
I can hear you, but I wasn't hearing Vincent at all, so I wasn't quite sure what was going on.
I got you. All right, go ahead and introduce
So, Vincent,
yourself.
were you saying something? I still can't hear you.
He was asking you to introduce
Are you
yourself.
asking something?
They wanted you to introduce
I'm not getting
yourself,
any
Kevin.
sound from their mics.
Are you able to hear me, Kevin?
So I can hear you, Gemma, when you speak.
Awesome. So we were just having everybody introduce themselves. So if you could just introduce yourself. I know Gemma did take the initiative to kind of introduce you, but if you could go ahead and introduce yourself.
So, Kevin, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Okay,
and your
great.
role with the committee.
Okay, great. My name is Kevin Coleman, entrepreneur. Just excited to be doing work to lead the marketing effort for Celebrate Delaware Together Day, working along with Dr., who we affectionately call Dr. G, and of course Gemma, that's part of the team as well. So very excited about this effort and being able to really bring this to fruition here in the state of Delaware.
Awesome. So we are going to ask a few questions here to go ahead and get acclimated to what we have going on for Celebrate Delaware Together Day 2026. So our first question is going to be, what is the long-term vision for Celebrate Delaware Together Day? And we'll go with Dr. G on that one.
Great question. So if I may, I'll answer that question by stating what our mission is, which is really to connect communities. so we can gain some acceptance of who we are as people of the state of Delaware. So with that said, our inaugural celebration, Celebrate Delaware Together Day, our long-term vision is really to have the state celebrate April 17th on an annual basis as Celebrate Delaware Together Day, bringing everyone that lives in the state of Delaware together so we can raise awareness on our differences, which those differences are really our strength. Because as we know, when we come together with different perspectives and from different backgrounds, we're more innovative and we can really build more harmonious communities, as well as recognize who is living in the state and doing business in the state, right? So our long-term vision is to really bring our communities together and on an annual basis celebrate Delaware Together Day.
Awesome, awesome. Honey, would you like to ask the next question?
Absolutely. So, in terms of Celebrate Delaware Together Day, right? What was the critical gap or opportunity you identified that actually sparked the move?
And we'll go with would you like to answer that, Gemma or Kevin?
It's actually really hard. I am having a really hard time hearing her.
Oh,
So I'm trying to lip read the question. I think it was, what gap did we identify as the reason for this? If I understood the question correctly?
Yeah, can you hear me a little bit better now?
No.
Are you able to hear me, Gemma?
Yes, I can hear you perfectly.
Okay,
Her
sorry
mic
about
isn't
that.
picking up at all,
Okay,
unfortunately.
sorry about that, everyone. We're gonna work the technical issues out. Just give me 1 second.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and Gemma, if there's a question to me that you can relate, I can answer through you because I can hear you, but I cannot hear
Yeah.
Shakri and Vincent.
okay, yeah, sorry about that. So, can you walk us through the framework you designed to manage these moving parts and ensure a cohesive experience? So, and this is, I know it's a kind of a, like a question that may be more geared to Dr. G, but if you could just kind of, just wiggle your way into it just a little bit to see if, we can
Sure.
get that answered.
Sure. I mean, honestly, it's what got me interested in this idea is that, I think people lose sight of the fact that Delaware is a really small state, but we're not homogenous. We are a very, very diverse state, ethnically, politically, economically. So there's so many layers to who the residents of Delaware are. And we've all kind of, I'm a native Delawarean, so I've been here. I'm not a transplant, and it's this, northern Delaware, and then it's in lower Delaware is thought of a certain way. And in this time and age where there's so much divisiveness and there's so much tribalism, it's like, you know what, let's create something where we're celebrating us, we're celebrating the power of the small and mighty state of Delaware, and that's inclusive of all different groups within the state. So Dr. G really, really wanted to push that we are way more similar than we are dissimilar, and outside forces try to make us, work against each other in our best interests. But honestly, the power of us pulling together is massive, and we can cause really big change if we do that. And that doesn't mean that we forget who we are. That means we take who we are and we actually use that as our, superpower to pull together, bringing all the best of all of us together. And I think the Celebrate Delaware Together Day was a beautiful vision because it's a chance for people to bring everything that they have in their suitcase that's powerful together and see what we can do as a collective, and then just keep building on it every year so that this doesn't become the first year we've done this weird new thing that no one's heard about. This is, wow. Remember when we started this 10 years ago and look where it is now? I think that's the vision for us, is that this is a place to start, but this is nowhere in our thought pattern that this is where we're going to end. And Dr. G, please correct me or add anything that I might have missed as far as flavor on that one.
Oh no, you have absolutely done a phenomenal job answering that question. Like you just said, we want this to be an annual thing, and that vision to create a more connected and harmonious society where every individual, every citizen of the state of Delaware feels valued, respected, and empowered to thrive. So that is what the only thing I can add to that.
Awesome, awesome. That was a really good answer. I know Kevin can't hear us. So if one can delay, I mean, not relay, if one can relay the question of being a part of the marketing team, how do you see yourself pushing Celebrate Delaware Together Day forward?
Oh, this is definitely a Kevin question for sure. Did you
Well,
hear
but
that, Kev?
no, I didn't hear. I'm not hearing
Okay,
anything
so this
except
is
for you.
this is this is coming. This is a softball to you as
Okay,
the leader of the marketing team. How do you
okay.
see the marketing team and the efforts to really push this message out? And what are we doing to kind of help elevate this message and get it out to folks?
Well, so I certainly want to answer that question, but I want to piggyback off of the answer that I heard you say, Gemma, because of what I think the question was. Even though I didn't hear the question, but because you're a native Delawarean and you've been around and you see the diversity here in the state. I am a transplant. I'm from New York, but I've been down here 2 decades. But what I really love, what attracted me to Celebrate Delaware Together Day, is the whole idea of diversity working together. One thing about being from New York is that it's a very diverse town. So you have very distinctive cultures moving and working. But when you're in the city, we're all New Yorkers. So is that the so here in Delaware, I think we have that same opportunity because of the diversity we have, but we can work, coexist, and be able to leverage all the richness of the state in all of our diversity. So being able to do that and see that translated in this particular effort is an exciting opportunity. So I'm piggybacking off of the question that you answered, Jenna. Even though I didn't hear it, but it hits me the same way for sure. And I think this is a great opportunity for us in terms of getting the word out. Being able to leverage um, relationships throughout the state, being able to work with organizations. Across different cultures, different faith groups, different organizations, being able to leverage social media. We've been doing a lot of that messaging out there. We want to hear from the community. We want you to be able to go in social media to tell us, give us your flavor. Let us know what community means to you. Chime in on the opportunity to add yourself to Celebrate Delaware Together Day because this is you. We're going to celebrate you and me in DE in Delaware because this is all of us. So this is our opportunity to show up in the way that you've been showing up with in your uniqueness and be able to add that uniqueness to the uniqueness that we find across the state. And this is an opportunity for us to kind of link arms and be able to get the message out. And I can't think of any better way to do that than to attend the different activities that we're going to have on April 17th, 18th, and 19th. There's so many different layers to this, and there's some place where you can fit in, and we'd love to see that diversity start to come together. So the word is getting out there, but getting the word out there is part of connecting to the community. We want to hear from you because your word is important as well.
Mm.
That was
Well, I like that. Can I just jump in and add to that? Because he just got me excited, right?
absolutely.
Yeah, so I am a transplant as well to Delaware, right? All the way from the continent of Africa, in Central West Africa, Cameroon in particular. So, as an immigrant, that diversity even speaks more to my soul because coming to Delaware as a young girl or young woman, I was told I could not apply for a job because I was different, because I had a heavy accent. And that is an aspect that sometimes we take for granted. So, bringing our communities together so we can learn about one another through those differences, it's a way to celebrate Delaware. Like Sister Emma said, Delaware is small but mighty. So how about Delaware lead, taking the lead in celebrating those differences instead of seeing it as a conflict? So we can live in harmony. We can connect better. People coming to Delaware can say, how? This is how Delaware does it. So it is quite impressive to hear Kevin talk about, your uniqueness because we all are unique in our own ways, and bringing those different perspectives and uniqueness together will just build a more stronger Delaware where everyone can feel valued, respected, we accept one another, and we can all thrive.
That was amazing. Like that, just both of y'all. Literally, listen, we have to make sure that we get people out to celebrate to Delaware Together Day, because seriously, it's about to be an amazing experience, and I cannot wait for it. Honey, would you like to ask another question?
Yes, I actually have a question. I know Kevin was talking about leveraging relationships and touched a little bit on bringing everybody together, which you all touched a little bit on. So, with so many moving parts to celebrate Together Day, right? What were some challenges that you guys have faced so far?
I can go on that if so when you're planning something or organizing an event, there's always going to be challenges, right? And I would say that the challenge that we have faced thus far is not with the team, but it's engaging the community, looking for the different sectors within our community that are willing to come on board and really truly celebrate who we are. There is a saying in my culture, I am proud of who I am. Or then so people say we're proud of who we are. So those challenges become, how do you get people to understand what we're trying to do? It's just not another event. This is a call out for all of us to come together. And I always say it's okay for everybody to be within their ethnic group, within their clubs, within their communities. But once a year, let's just come together as one and celebrate that one love, that oneness. And I think the challenge is really getting people to understand that we're not just building just another event. This is an event to bring everybody together. Clubs, organizations, churches, schools, everyone, so we can begin to learn about what happens in each group. And it's perfectly okay for people to say, I want to be with my own community. Yes, it is okay. But once in a while, let's come together and put those communities together, and life will be even much more better. So I would say the challenge again is really getting people to understand what our mission is, what our vision is, and where we're heading with this whole initiative.
And I think that's why we wanted to partner with you guys. Is one of the things in Delaware that's also really hard is communicating. We don't have a centralized paper. We don't have a great, a TV station. I mean, we do, but I mean, that goes everywhere. All of our communication tools are really niche. So trying to get the word out, I think, is also the struggle. Is we're all, pulling out our hair trying to figure out who all to include in all the different groups, because so many of them are siloed. So the other lesson in all of this that's been fascinating and frustrating is, how do we build up a network of, contacts across all different ethnicities, all different groups, north, south, every part of Delaware, that we can send blast messages out to, that aren't, a few to this person, a few to that person, send it to your friends. So I think we're also creating a network that's going to make communicating with each other way better over time.
Yeah, and I think that communication is so important. I'll just kind of jump in because I can only hear you, Gemma. But that communication is so important because there's certain communication that are inherent to different groups. When that message shows up in your church and shows up in your mosque and shows up in your synagogue, we're able to start to make sure that message goes out. It shows up in your school. It shows up in your fraternity, in your sorority. It shows up in your social organization, your professional organization. Being able to create those linkages between what it is that is already going on, I think creates a powerful opportunity to have that message go out and resonate in special ways. So coming together on that communication side is going to be part of the opportunity that Celebrate Delaware Together Day affords all of us.
Yeah, and I think I can add to that as well. Is I'm sure a lot of news media people will be watching this. If they can at least afford us the opportunity to do a press release, we've had challenges with that, reaching out to the different social media platforms to say, hey, this is what we're doing. How can you partner and collaborate and help us spread the word? So I just wanted to throw that in there.
Yes. Honey, did you want to add something?
Now, I think you guys really talked about how great of the challenges are you are facing. If you could leave one thing with the groups that you are trying to reach, what would that be?
That's a good, that's actually a good question. Um, I think people always look at something, a new opportunity in the what's in it for me. And I think I would love to leave people with the idea that it's not a me thing, it's a we thing. So I would love them to take this as a what's in it for us play, and that this is a chance to elevate. We're not taking anything away from anybody. What we're trying to do is create a collective that is bigger than any of us individually. And I think that for me is, if they can see the significance of being a part of a big we and us group, I think that for me is the win.
And it's interesting that you should couch it in that way, because I think when you bring yourself to the we, and then that distinctiveness comes as well. So just by showing up and being able to participate, you really bring yourself. So that's what's in it for you. I remember speaking with a gentleman that represented his organization, the Igbo Association. He said he's representing the Igbo Association, but he's excited about representing that as part of Delaware, Celebrate Delaware Together Day. So that distinctiveness by bringing it to the we really adds to it the me. So it's all bundled together when you think about it.
And in that way, you look past beyond yourself, and the hashtag celebrate you and me in Delaware, start really sends a strong message. So let's come together. Let's celebrate us and us in Delaware, or that we, okay? And there will be a lot more benefits to far beyond what we can even imagine if we start just thinking I.
Absolutely. So, my next question is actually going to be, what is the strategic value for them in aligning with your mission beyond simple sponsorship? So, this is for sponsors. I'm sorry, I should have worded that a little bit differently. But so let me start all over again. So, how can business owners, entrepreneurs, and creators plug into this ecosystem? What is the strategic value for them in aligning with your mission beyond simple sponsorship?
I like that question. That's an amazing question. So, of course, there are benefits for being a sponsor, but looking far beyond into the community, what impact are we trying to create for the community? That sponsorship is going to go to sponsoring something, leveraging something for an impact on what we're trying to do. I'll give an example. We have a Delaware Youth Unity Challenge that we're trying to do that particular week of these events. And we're trying to engage students to recognize the importance of identity, belonging, and inclusiveness, especially with the young kids. So if you are a sponsor, your money is going to be put to work sponsoring these students. Whatever work the students do during that week of Celebrate Delaware Together Day, they're going to have the top 3 students from each county be awarded some awards. They'll get awards, right? And because of the work that they're doing, they're not only learning about inclusivity and diversity, but we're teaching the kids that this is an important aspect of our lives. So an organization that sponsors those awards or sponsors the activities for that week, it's not really for the organization, but they're creating impact in the community. And most of the organizations that have already collaborated and are willing to collaborate in that aspect are really truly leveraging what we can do together, and not only looking at that one significant benefit for the organization itself, is what we can do for our community collaboratively or collectively to really move things forward, especially when it comes to this whole idea of identity, inclusivity, especially in the times we're living in right now. Whether it's education, whether it's just community service, coming together will make a better impact.
And I think that that's the feel good aspect of it. And that's important. I think there's some people that are going to be really business minded because funds are tight, budgets are being cut everywhere. But I think that studies show, data shows that the more you diversify, your audience, the better your business does.
Mhm.
So I think it's the right thing to do. And here's a chance to really engage and have an impact. It's also financially and business minded wise, it's the right thing to do. It's a way to use your marketing budget to tap into communities that you probably don't normally target. So your reach as a business could be far, far exceeding what you normally plan for. And you have the added benefit of helping us help our community. And by our community, I mean our Delaware community. So if you're somebody and you sign on board as a vendor or a sponsor, and you have something that's a passion project, and you're like, this is a great way to elevate it, here's a chance for you to do that and show it to a totally new group of people without having to have it as a budget line item that you thought about last year. You can tag in this year and do something now instead of waiting for later, just by partnering with us, because the collective of the us in this case, again, is going to be so much more impactful than that one me item that you had maybe thought about doing. So I think that there's a way to tie the community benefit and impact to people's actual business plan and strategy. And they're not mutually exclusive. In this case, they're actually mutually beneficial.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm piggybacking off of that from a business standpoint. I think that when vendors come out and engage communities that may not normally avail themselves of the products and services that they offer and expose it to new markets, that's a market opportunity right there. And you might find very often that you find different audiences have an affinity for what you offer, but just had never thought to avail themselves of it in the past. I remember my experience learning about different foods, for as an example. I didn't know that I love pepper soup as an example, because I didn't grow up having pepper soup, in the South Bronx, but I love it now. So bitter leaf. That's another product. So if you have some African cuisine, you will probably recognize those. But delicious. But I would have never known that. So that is just an example on the food side. But there are other things that vendors can bring to the table as part of Celebrate Delaware Together Day that can expose market opportunity for the and new audiences to what they have. So it's a great opportunity for sure.
Absolutely. And also, sponsorship is not just monetary wise, it can be in kind. And both of them go a long way. So it is just as simple as that.
All right, that's awesome. Listen, make sure you sponsor, whether it's doing work in the community, whether it's, something that, just you're able to help out with something, right? I have another question here. And the Inclusive Cultural Leadership Summer is a key component. What is your model for identifying and empowering leaders?
Great question. Amazing question. So, our Inclusive Cultural Leadership Summit, the intent for that is to bring together leaders from education, healthcare, and the business sector of our community. Because in Delaware, people come from all walks of life. They live in Delaware, do business in Delaware. But if our workforce does not provide that job satisfaction by simply, first of all, understanding the people that live in your community and work in these organizations, then we are missing something. So the ultimate goal is to have discussions about things that are affecting our communities. For example, burnout. There's burnout in education, there's burnout in healthcare, there's burnout in business. And so we need to come together to talk about that. And that's going to be one of the panels that we'll have at the Inclusive Cultural Leadership Summit. The second thing that is affecting our community is maternal disparities. So we're going to have a spotlight panel to talk about that. What are some of the solutions? What are we still missing? What are some of those treatments that are available? And then access. Do our communities, especially the underserved communities, do they have access to these services? And then, of course, we have to talk about trust and access, because you may have access, but trust and equity is lacking. So all of these leaders are going to come into a room and share resources, talk about what they're each doing in their different organizations. But most importantly, look at what are the solutions that we can bring to the table collectively so we can build that workforce where people have job satisfaction. Because when they have job satisfaction, they're going to stay. When we have retention, our organizations will do better. So there is success, but better outcomes for the organizations.
I think the Leadership Summit is also an opportunity for leaders to hear from the audience, which is also always amazing because we love to get the nuggets from them, but it's an opportunity in those spaces for people to have their voices heard. And I think that's why attendance, whether, no matter where you fall out of those categories and topics, there's a benefit to you being there because we are so blessed in Delaware to be in a state that's this small that we can get very proximate and very close to our leaders. And an opportunity like this, where you can sit in a room with a few hundred people and they can hear you and you can be seen, I think is invaluable. And that right there is a reason for people to get up and come join us. Because that is just not something that a lot of states can advertise that they can do. Even in small states, you can have closed doors. And Delaware's been very intentional that those doors are open and you really can get a message to leadership, and that's business leaders, that's our political leaders. And if we don't take advantage of that opportunity, that's just an opportunity missed.
Yeah, no, I think the Leadership Summit, and I'm just hearing your response, Gemma. I think the Leadership Summit is an opportunity to not only showcase expertise that is so rich across the state, across different categories, different sectors, whether it's the healthcare sector, whether it's the technology sector, whether it's the education sector, even in the creative arts as well. Those are opportunities right there that we can really start to share information. But mentorship is an important aspect of it as well. So this is an opportunity to be able to reach back to start to develop the next leaders that are going to be in the organization. So a lot of people who have succeeded in their particular sector really want to be able to give back in a significant way. And this is a way to make real connections through that Leadership Summit, do that rich networking that comes along with that. But really culminates in an opportunity for the first state to be able to kind of lead the way in terms of this particular region and really show what it looks like to execute on this idea effectively of being able to bring diverse communities together, being able to leverage the power that we have in our particular sectors as well, and really to tap into the power of what we have here in the state of Delaware in a deliberate way. So in being able to bring all that interest really gives us an opportunity to make that happen.
Amazing. So the second part to that question is going to be, how do you architect a community that fosters genuine connection and collaboration, not just networking?
That's an interesting one. Who wants to answer that before me?
I would say that you have to come from a place of intentionality. You have to, this can't be an opportunity knocks kind of moment. You have to really plan for this and make sure that this is about giving more than it is about getting, so that people feel like they're benefiting from what you're willing to share, and that encourages them to share back. Nobody likes being in a room where everybody kind of tells you what matters to you. You want to be part of the conversation. And I think if we create the environment, the fertile ground where we're asking for the seeds to plant, to grow something together. We're not saying, here's this perfect thing and here, just listen to me talk. I think that fostering of that kind of relationship, that we're going to grow something together, I think gives people something very different to hold on to. And they walk away feeling empowered that they've actually participated versus observed. And I think that participation versus observing is where we can really make this something very distinctly different. And every year we get to grow and see, okay, last year we had a 4x4 garden because we grew this little bit. Next year we got a 10x10. 10 years down, we got a football field. And I think we'll be able to track our progress. And that's part of why we're doing this, is that we want to show year over year that we're having an impact. This isn't a one and done. This is a start and grow. And I think that's where we can engage people into understanding that what they're giving of their time and their treasure is valued because we're building something together.
Yeah, I love that idea of really planting the seed, because this is an opportunity at the ground level to really craft what this is going to look like in the succeeding years. And when we look back 10 years from now and it really starts to blossom into something significant, you can say, I was there in the beginning, but you can add your distinctiveness to what it's going to become. So this is a great opportunity to come on board, to become part of what's happening, because we're crafting the future right now today.
Absolutely. And I like to add to that, I like the spirit of collaboration and partnership, because if we look at all the sectors, it's really these are the key sectors of our community, of any community, right? Because education leads to healthcare, healthcare leads to business. So they all really tie in. So that partnership and collaboration will make this more significant, make everyone feel that they're in the room, not only being in the room, but at the table and sharing their ideas and perspectives. And I think we can come up with much better, innovative solutions for all the issues and challenges that we have in our community.
All right, that was some awesome questions that being answered, and I would like to go into our last question because we're running out of time here, and we want to make sure we get this particular question answered. All right, so as you move towards the April 17th through 19 dates, what are the key milestones? And what does the next phase of this movement look like after the event concludes?
Oh my goodness. Just thinking about what's going to come after, that's a huge jump, right? But in the immediate milestone is obviously celebrating, not only celebrating, but doing it in the most efficient and effective way for the inaugural year, right? And we're going to start that celebration with a second recognition at Legislative Hall. We don't have an exact date yet, but we'll make the public aware of that once we have the date. And after that, we're going to go full force into the celebration. But the question about what would it look like, for me, um, if I have to be honest, when I think about it right now, it's overwhelming, but it's a good overwhelm. It's not a bad overwhelm. And I just really want to see people come out and have a good time. And not when having that good time, there's lessons learned from that good time and impact being created. Because when you're having fun, I always say over food and music, the conversation changes, because then people are happy, they're being very authentic, and honesty comes out. So for me, it's really just seeing the community come out and be with one another and celebrate not only the awareness, but getting to know each other who lives and does business in Delaware, in our very small Delaware and small communities. So that for me is a great milestone. What comes after that in the movement is we have to sit back and analyze what we were able to achieve through the planning process to the implementation and then the final closing of this event. That to me is where we're going to then look at that impact data for next year and see how far we came and the challenges that brought us to where we are and the wins that brought us to where we are by the end of the 19th of April. That's just I feel emotional talking about it. Happy at the same time, but it is just so many flying parts, but it will come together just like the Empower Her event came together.
And we don't, it's go big or go home with Dr. G. That's how we do. So this was very ambitious. So and there is that element of fear. You're doing something for the first time, but I also think that that fear can't be something that stops us. It's something you acknowledge and you push through, because nothing successful has ever started from a place of confidence. It's always been something that you were fearful of. You're doing something new. People say you can't do it, or it's not going to turn out. And you know what? You have to turn a deaf ear to that and say, the reasons underpinning why we're doing this are important enough that we're going to silence the noise and do it anyway. And we're going to assess it, because is it going to be perfect? No. Are we okay with that? Absolutely. Because we're going to learn as we grow. And every opportunity that we put out this year, we're going to reassess for an opportunity to adjust it next year, or hear somebody's feedback, or, oh, well, you know what? Since you guys started this, we actually have something else we'd like to tag onto it. We're leaving ourselves really flexible and open. I say that all the time to people. If you try to break the ground on something new and you're an oak tree with roots that are planted and a storm comes up, you break. But if you're a palm tree, those same deeply planted roots sway and bend with the breeze. And we just have to build this as though we're a palm that's willing to sway, and we're going to go with whatever the wind brings us, but we're not going to break. We're going to keep on going, and we're just going to let it get better and better. Take the feedback and lean into the fact that this is going to be successful. You know why? Because we said so.
I love that. And I didn't hear Dr. G's comments, but Gemma, based on what you said, I think the bigness of the event gives us more room for our communities to fit in. There's so many opportunities to be able to fit in in an area that works for you, that you can bring value to. And that's why the bigness of it, actually, it can be scary, but it actually is an opportunity for you to be able to come in and bring something that we hadn't even thought about that can really help to elevate our effort moving forward. So we're not afraid. We're not afraid to be able to have this ambitious effort in the wide range of what we're offering, because there's room at the table, and we want everyone to feel invited.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes, that was an amazing. Listen, amazing is an understatement. So, listen, I know we are getting to the end here, and I want to actually go to the landing page, just so people know where to go to purchase tickets, as well as to be able to sponsor and for parade registration. Correct? Let me pull this up here. Give me 1 second, and let's. So I hope everybody's having a great day. Thank you for our wonderful guest being a part of Humble Hearts podcast on today. Hopefully, everybody can see the screen now, right? Can everyone see? All right. So we have Celebrate Delaware Together Day 2026. The dates are April 17th through the 19th. Here in Dover, Delaware. There's a few events going on, right? Where we already had the Voices Across Cultures Empower Her Brunch and Tea, which is that was amazing, and the colors just came together just right with the pink and the emerald. The ladies had fun, and we can just talk about that for just a quick second. And I know we only have about a minute or so, but Celebrate Delaware Together Day is right here. If you want to purchase if you actually want to just go into here, and it'll bring up give me 1 second here, location, right? Um, we have the Inclusive Cultural Leadership Summit in here where you can purchase a ticket. Then we have, um, let me back out of here real quick. Sorry about that, everybody. Okay, so and also here you can actually purchase a ticket for. Sorry about that. Um, Inclusive Cultural Leadership Summit. Okay, so if you want to grab those tickets, and I suggest you get it early so you can get the amazing price that we have available here. Um, Really, you're going to want to be in the building. Okay. Uh, but unityland.org is the site that you will need to go to. Okay. All right. Let's see here. All right. So if our wonderful guests want to just real quick, just talk about Empower Her and how how that turned out, and we'll go ahead and get out of here. Okay.
Dr. G, you go ahead and take that one, because I know
Oh
you were
my
just
goodness.
grinning. You were so happy.
The Empower Her, my heart, I posted, oh, it made my heart so warm and fulfilled. Ladies showed up, showed out. The speakers understood the assignment and just really showed off. The red carpet, even though I was not part of the red carpet, was amazing. Our sister Shakri did her phenomenal job as always on that red carpet. The MC, oh my goodness, I can list everyone individually, but I know I'm going to miss someone. But it was an incredible, incredible event. To be an inaugural event, I think we're on to something. So the fact that our speakers just really took us to a place of transformation, a place where people just felt happy being in that room, from the decor to the food to the music to the panel discussions and the keynote speaker reminding us of, think of that woman that is not on a Hall of Fame wall. It made a lot of women really connect and relate. Even myself, I'm still really thinking of all these women that have brought me to where I am today. And it's because of this event, things that I never even just sat back and thought about it. But I think that it was quite a successful event, in my opinion. And you can tell on social media, all the postings from everyone. I was so overwhelmed. I just started posting yesterday. So it was incredible. And thank you, Vincent, for capturing the pictures, the beautiful pictures and the videos. And, to my brother and my sister on here with me today, for the part that you've played, and the whole planning team really came together and did what they had to do. So it is definitely true that teamwork makes the dream work. And I cannot wait to see what the team is going to produce for April 17th, 18th, and 19th. So with that, I say thank you all, and let's just continue because we're just starting.
Awesome. So that is the end of our show today. We really appreciate our wonderful guests and everyone who tuned in. All right. Oh, man.
Humble hearts with love and laughter, they play their parts in the world of marriage where stories unfold. We share our journey, both young and old.
Together we stand in the side, we embrace the highs and lows, we find our place. With humble hearts, we never get the way. In love and life every single day.
Family bonds, they string in their hand. We build our dreams on shifting sand. Relationships bloom like flowers and spring in the pockets of life. Our voices sing.
With stories to tell and lessons to share.
Get it?
Every moment we show we care. It's a journey.